Hello and welcome to this episode of Web3 Talks. My name is Ornella Hernandez and I have a special guest here with me today, Jason Lau. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me here.
Thanks for joining me. So Jason is the Chief Innovation Officer at the OKX Exchange. So tell me, you are visiting Dubai. How are you doing? How are you liking it? Tell me what you've done so far.
So I'm here for a couple conferences. It seems like this is the month for crypto conferences here in Dubai.
Yes.
It's a really exciting city for crypto, I think. We just opened up our office here in April. So we're growing that team. We're working on completing our full license here with Vara. And so it's just a great time to be here. I think the Middle East, here in Dubai in particular, just so much energy around crypto.
So would you consider Dubai a crypto hub?
It's getting there. I think there's certainly a lot of people here in crypto.
Yes.
There's a lot of activity here in crypto. And it remains to be seen, but I think we have all the right pieces here.
Okay, so then what is OKX's goal then by expanding into the Middle East market?
Looking at Dubai particularly, we saw that with Vara being stood up as a standalone dedicated regulator to the crypto space, we just thought that was very exciting, and we engaged very early on to see how we could contribute and take part in this ecosystem here. And so, like I said earlier, we're working through getting our full license. Mm-hmm. That's obviously has many steps. It's a pretty rigorous process.
Yes.
But we're excited once we're done with that to be able to really contribute and get really involved.
All right, so then tell me a little bit more then about yourself and your role at OKX. I know you've been there for quite some time, 7 years, correct?
Yeah, so I joined our OK Group back in early 2016. First in Beijing, then in Hong Kong, then in the US, and now it's a very global company. So my role today is Chief Innovation Officer, focusing really on how we navigate our interactions with the on-chain space. So on a product side, our Web3 wallet is our primary sort of a product that touches, allows users to self-custody and then do everything they want in Web3. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, we obviously have a centralized exchange business that's more traditional and what people are more familiar with. I've worked on that front in the past for many years also. So it's grown to be such a big business for us now, where we now have multiple business lines, the exchange part, the Web3 part, and we do a variety of other things too. So I'm happy to talk about any of that here today.
Yeah, lots of products there. Okay, you have the wallet, you have the exchange, and then you also have an NFT marketplace and Launchpad. So lots of different products there.
Yeah.
Let's start with the exchange.
Sure.
It is one of the largest ones if we're comparing to Coinbase and Upbit. But I do have to ask, how are you guys dealing with your user base right now? How are you trying to retain them and instill that trust in your users, given what's going on in the market, given FTX? How do you do that? How do you regain trust?
2022 was a challenging year for the space, right? As you said, I think it shook a lot of people. How they view exchanges, especially custodians, people that hold their assets. Right. I think they realized that there was a misunderstanding or miscalculation of what businesses like us do. And so I think you're right? We spend a lot of time reassessing, talking to our users, our institutional users, our retail users, looking through our product suite and really understanding why someone should be entrusting their assets with us. And so trust, like you said, is a key value for us. We work very hard to build that trust. And I think for us, a few things stand out. We've been doing this for, this is our 10th year anniversary. So we've been doing this for a long time now, right? And so thank you. I think it's later this year, but we've been doing this and building trust with users globally, across the globe. And like I mentioned, we've been expanding over the years, but now we're a global brand with over 50 million users. And so we have so many stakeholders around the world, our users included, but our brand partners, for example, we partner with McLaren,
right.
We partner with Manchester City, Tribeca Film Festival out in New York. So our banking partners, our regulators, there's just so many stakeholders that we have to build trust with. And part of that is obviously being transparent. I think it's just so key after seeing what happened with FTX that there has to be transparency around what we do. We have to be clear.
What about your reserves?
Reserves is I think reserves is a key part, but not just the only part, right? We have to be clear about what we're trying to do as a business.
Right.
Let people know when we work, VARA, for example, we communicate, we work with our regulators. We got to make sure they understand our business, our customers understand our business, and then be vocal and communicative about what we're doing, right? We have to be accessible also, talking to people, I met you at the conference earlier.
That's right, blockchain life.
Being visible, being available, I think is important. And then onto reserves, right? Assets, right? I think that's absolutely critical.
Yeah.
This is our 12th month, I think in a few days we're gonna do our 12th month, consecutive 12th month of proof of reserves. And this is a tool and a program whereby we're trying to show to anyone really that your assets are here on the blockchain under our control, but you can still see them that we have not used them for something else. They've not been, moved for other purposes, right?
I think you guys are one of the only exchanges to do that, right? The proof of reserves.
There are a few. I'll give credit to some of our competitors have also done some, but I think we have really taken a lead in being consistent, and also not just doing it, but doing it right. I think is important. We've upgraded the way we've done it in a way to preserve user privacy, for example, over the months. And I think this is something that people around the world, legislators in Texas, I believe, actually tried to put proof of reserve requirements into a bill. So it's like governments and regulators and others are starting to understand how important proof of reserves are for crypto businesses. And I actually think, when more businesses end up interacting with on-chain assets, every business will end up just doing proof of reserves, even the traditional banks. It'll just be a normal part of the auditing sort of framework. It's just such a powerful tool. We're very proud of that.
Okay, no, that's amazing. And I guess regulators, they need education too. Like it's such a back and forth process that they need to know how they can best help crypto companies and blockchain companies. So how else does OKX deal with that regulatory pressure globally, when all the markets have different laws and regulations?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is really we can't be everywhere at the same time, right? I think that is really the biggest challenge. We are currently licensed in Dubai here, like I mentioned, Bahamas. We're working on our license in Hong Kong, Singapore. In the US, we're also licensed via our OKCoin brand, a separate brand, in 40 plus states there. In Japan, we have a subsidiary that's licensed. US is interesting because it's a state-by-state system for now. So you kind of have to go through each one. It's taken us 5 years to get to 40-something. And so we're working on it. But the point is, we have people around the world engaging and talking and communicating with regulators. Again, teaching them about the business, teaching them about how important it is to safeguard, what are the best practices around safeguarding customer assets, making sure that, the educational tools that we have, but also the marketing that, we do, we all are comfortable that it doesn't cross any lines that regulators are. And it's a tough job for regulators too, right? Every market, like you said, is different. Users are different, their risk tolerance are different, the products they want are different. So we have to cater to that. Yeah.
And then among your stakeholders, you mentioned you have companies like McLaren and other sports teams in the mix. So given that it touches so many industries, the blockchain and Web3 industry, which sector do you think can benefit the most right now from Web3 elements? Is it sports and loyalty programs, or is it, I don't know, fashion and sneakers, or which sector do you think can value the most from Web3?
Sports, I think, is just such a fascinating, it touches, and crosses so many different facets of our lives, and one thing that we found is that it's still a bit of an experimentation, I would say. We discussed about NFTs prior, before the show, and I think sports moments as NFTs, a collectible moment that people
like an NBA Top Shots.
Top Shots is a good, these are very interesting things because if we were watching a game and there was a moment that a goal or something that really lives with you, having that and being able to own that moment as an NFT is kind of interesting, I think. And it's really taking something that we're familiar with, collecting sports cards, to another level. And so we've actually been experimenting with Manchester City around NFTs and how to bring that to their user base. We did a collection with them. They won the Champions League in Turkey a few months ago, and so to celebrate that, we did a NFT collection with them, and really for their fans to kind of commemorate and memorialize the moment. That was very interesting. I think it was their first, one of the earlier forays into NFTs and seeing how they could use that to engage with their fans a bit better. So we'll see. We'll continue to innovate. One other thing that we did with Tribeca is with more like the Hollywood side, the creator side, film side, is to see how NFTs can be used to engage creators, right? And see how they could build and
so the filmmakers
and all that to, again, engage with their audience. Maybe create new models which they can get revenue, or really it's that connection between the filmmaker and the audience that I think we're experimenting on. Robert De Niro hosted a small get together, and we used NFTs as more like a ticketing or a pass, access pass NFT type ticketing. Of thing. Again, an experiment, very small scale, but it's cool to see them.
That's another valid use case, I think.
Absolutely,
for NFTs.
Yeah. But we're playing, right? I think these established brands and companies, they have to understand, dip their toes, and then kind of experiment through it. And we're here with them to do that.
Okay, so out of all that experimenting that you've done in your time at OKX, which projects or feats are you most proud of that you've accomplished?
We think of ourselves, our Web3 efforts are as a enabler. We're like a portal into this wider world of Web3. Maybe like your browser, for example, right? You open your browser and you get to access to everything you possibly can. And so we're focused on making that best browser, that best portal, so you can go figure out what is good for you. So within that Web3 wallet we have today, we have integrated an NFT marketplace that aggregates actually NFT marketplaces from around the cryptoverse. There's a DEX aggregator, so you could swap and trade if you want to. Again, you don't need to go to Uniswap, for example. You can just hey, I want to do X to Y, and it will just kind of scour and piece together the best route for you. There's a lot of cool stuff there. And I think we're proud about all these tools that we've built for our users. It's just so powerful and allows them to really do whatever they want to do in this wide space.
All right, and then what about you personally as Jason? What are you most proud of from your time in Web3 space? I know you have a more traditional background, so how did that background shape your experience in the blockchain industry?
Yeah, I used to be in traditional finance. This company was just serving one small market at the time, and I joined to help the company expand internationally. And so for me personally, I feel very proud that I've been able to be a part of that journey. I've been very fortunate to be part of that journey where we expanded into Asia broadly first, and then across into Europe, into the US, now here. And we also opened up an office in Turkey very recently. So it's just been an incredible journey, and to be able to be a part of that. It's not just our story, but also the story of crypto gaining, back then it was, people were very skeptical, right? It seemed to be
a lot of people are still skeptical.
Still skeptical.
Yeah. What do you say to those people who think that crypto is just like a scam and Web3 is just, they don't understand it?
Because crypto can mean so many things for so many different people, you have to kind of find the use case that's relevant for them. And truly, I've met so many people where, for you it might be NFTs, right? We talked about your pudgy and how awesome that is.
I do, I love my little pudgy.
That's fantastic, right? But for some others, Bitcoin is a lifeline because they can't access, their local currency. They don't trust and can't use their currency. So they're completely different levels of meaning of what crypto is, right? And so one story doesn't fit all is what I've learned. And so part of what we do also is to try to tailor what we offer to those specific audiences, and which is why we build so many different products, because it's hard to say there's one thing that convinces anyone.
Right. Yeah. So what's that one thing for you?
For me,
what does it mean to you?
I think Bitcoin was what got me into this space at the beginning.
So you started as an investor in Bitcoin specifically?
Yeah. Okay. I used to work in an investment bank, and we would joke about Bitcoin. What a joke! Look at these silly people. They think this thing is worth something. But then when you dive in and you kind of realize, okay, it does have properties that are truly unique. Digital gold is that analogy, but being able to also self-own, self-custody, have self-sovereignty around your own assets is something fairly rare today. I mean, there's actually not much beyond maybe what we have today sitting right here physically that you can say you have control of at this moment. Your money in your bank account certainly is not.
Everything's on the cloud, on my phone, so.
Right, I mean, you have to go, even when you go to the ATM, you're asking for permission to get your own money back out. When you swipe your credit card, you're asking for permission, right?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So, oftentimes we don't need, it doesn't matter, but sometimes it might matter. And so I think recognizing that value and all the use cases that can be built on top of permissionless, censorship-free sort of currency or crypto it's just very exciting. So for me, that really resonated.
Yeah, definitely. So the ownership aspect of it all. Okay. So the market right now, I mean, we have Bitcoin that went up to 34K this year. So that's this week. That's super exciting. Do you think that's a positive thing? Like things are looking up, or what's your outlook on that?
Bitcoin this year, 34. I think it hit 36,000 for a moment.
Yes,
a couple
this
days.
year.
Yeah. But it's been up a lot this year. This has been a very good year, obviously with what happened last year. But Bitcoin is fascinating because we have these potential narratives that are just right on the horizon. The ETF obviously is a big one.
Yes.
The halving next year is a big one.
How are you prepping for that? Does that affect your business at all?
So we've gone through multiple halvings, so on a technical level, that's not a problem for us. We do have some things planned, sort of on a marketing side. I think it's a fun event.
Okay.
Happens every 4 years, so it's kind of rare. So we've got some stuff planned that we hope will be fun and engaging for our users to understand about why halving even happens, right?
Can you share anything about it?
Team won't let me talk about it yet,
okay.
and we're still a few months away, to be fair. We're still probably 5 months away from the halving.
So what is the big significance there? Why are people so excited about it?
I think every halving, to me at least, every halving is a sign that Bitcoin is working as it was designed. The halving was something that's put in place right from the inception, right? And baked in the code, and to understand that, okay, it is actually doing exactly what it's supposed to say. And that's part of the appeal of Bitcoin, right? Is sort of, it will just chug along and do its thing. It doesn't care about its price or anything like that. It's still, you and I can still engage and do Bitcoin transactions without needing to do, it's still, the software that is required today is no more onerous than it was, 10 years ago or something. And so it's still accessible, and it's accessible to more people today. I think that's why it's so powerful. Halving is a good sign of that progression and maturity of the network and of the community also.
Yeah. All right. And lastly, is there any advice that you have for our audience out there that are either looking to invest or learn more about OKX? Like, where should they go? How should they connect with you and reach out?
I think Twitter is a great place to start. There's, where I'm on Twitter. If you just want to send me a DM, you want to ping me, I'm at Jason K Lau, at Jason K Lau, and we can put that up. You can message our OKX handle. They're also very friendly. One thing we're trying to do is to be accessible, like I said, and feel free to message us and ask us questions. We have a great platform and website. Download our app, take a look. I think everything I talked about is in there. So yeah, I think it's just important to figure out what crypto means for yourself as someone that's new. If it's investing, understand what you're comfortable with, what strategies and what you might want to look into. If you're just having fun, understand what makes you tick. And if it's meaningful to your life, I think there's a lot of crypto and crypto use cases out there too. So it's crypto is going to be as wide as what the internet is, right? And so you can't just say the internet is important. Of course it is, but how? I think that's the use cases are going to be key.
Okay, and finding the personal meaning, like you said. All right, well, thank you so much for your insights today, Jason.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
And everyone, thank you for watching. Please make sure to catch other episodes of Web3 Talks. I'm Ornella Hernandez with Jason Lau, and I'll see you guys next time.